course, the big question is whether or not is the type of news that are elevator you put in World Health Show talk about this in a lot of detail. Why that really goes so important. There's third elevator near that area. No, really, why do all you do this? Your life, you actually want to talk about this. Ron into a nuclear parking lot, and you don't move the whole thing forever. So I figured it was worth a chat. So second son, the like and subscribe button, let's talk about it. Now, I imagine if you clicked on this video, your immediate reaction was either we should or we shouldn't. I don't imagine many people on the videos who reflect on the pros and cons of it. Because that is my job to do it for you. Now, depending on what your gut insert and the question of nuking Iran was, is probably going to indicate how you view the situation as a whole. You could say Iran and its radical, totalitarian, and violent Islamist worldview either evolved from a complex series of socio-economic conditions and geopolitical decisions dating back over 1,000 years, or you can just say it evolved as there's full is normal. One could consider generations of Middle Eastern conflict, highlighting centuries of complex and religiously motivated warfare, along with the influences of post-World War II anti-colonialism, the intricate and often contradicting balance of external support during the Cold War, and the subsequent post-9/11 interventions by outside Western superpowers. Or one can just say Iran is how it is because there are bad guys out there. So, to combat the Iranian government and instate a more secular democratic system, we should either strategically exploit their own radical fundamentalist worldview against them while taking care not to exacerbate the conditions that led to their rise of power in the first place, or we could just drop a bunch of nukes on these enemies of freedom. Admittedly, we've been dealing with Iran for over 40 years now. They changed the policy, and what we fired every single bomb, rocket, and every piece of our but clearly, none of it actually worked so far. But, why not just nuke them? When the president said he was going to wipe out an entire civilization overnight, that implies nukes. I'm not sure what the phrase Allah was there for, but I'm sure he had his reason. Now, in order to reach these specific people I want to with this video, I won't be talking about stupid stuff like ethics, the value of human life, or the difference between right and wrong, because that's gay. So instead, I will be looking at this question with a purely concrete, practical, and military system. Only the obvious philosophical implications of this whole thing, or the comment section, which I'm sure will just be fine, and no one's going to argue at all. Point number one on why even nuke Iran, nukes don't actually make very good military weapons. Now, I know you're thinking, Justin, of course they make good military weapons. We literally won World War II with them bad boys, and just one can wipe out an entire army. You are correct. Sort of, not really, but I can't come in swinging this hot early in the video. It's very true that nukes are very powerful, but in a military context, they don't make a lot of sense. Take, for example, a tactical nuke, like the David Crockett that everyone likes to talk about. The idea behind these is that they would be used against larger Soviet ground forces as they charged through the Pubg River. The reason we came up with this wasn't because men used to be men and we weren't afraid of a little radiation back then. It was because we didn't have anything better. The precision-guided munitions weren't much of a thing back then. These accurate at long ranges might as well remove the need for accuracy at long ranges. No matter how much your missiles sit around is getting nuked. It was only worse if the people who are fighting are all randomly more singularity. They are the ones attacking you. They only work against a dispersed engine force to those underneath them. So what's wrong with these? You make this going to work. And not nearly as well as you think they will. They're just going off even modern laws. Behind the landscape is all hellhole. This is the first time we've been talking about here. The reality is that our most capable weapon systems, 26 this year, give their lethality to no range, not by just making it big and exposure that we can B-52 still a carbon bomb anymore. They're flying trucks bringing in towards the big opposition. It never works out that way. I promise you that. You got a bunch of cars right out. Country. It's not hard to just hit them with conventional missiles. You have to look at things like that. Literally isn't going to be more effective at taking out pieces of military equipment or flares. It's going to be more effective blowing up the shirt all around center. Personally, I don't have anything against Iranian turret, but maybe some people do. I think we should do it well. Usually the anything do help prevent civilian casualties, that's true. But they also reduce collateral damage in some areas like cities. The whole world obviously less destroyed an area is the area of in cities are reduced through rubble, and the community inside of them becomes a nightmare. These are more effective on us. These are easier to survive, or they can kill us. And finding is really just a total disaster. In fact, building with doors and windows has very obvious places a person should be from. Instead of building is a pile of building parts, there are now infinite places they should be from. Plus, with a lot of rubble on the ground, you might actually fall. That is very dangerous. You could hurt yourselves. The level of a city also means you wouldn't be able to use it for our own benefits. However, if the water systems are down, you have to figure out a way to fill those resources for ourselves in theater. That's not easy to do it, but we very much benefit us not to have to work. Very easy to say that's not a big deal, but you are the one having to fight the city with an exploded sewer system. Which is the launch military sectors, which the ones we really need to worry about, are underground. That complicates things quite a bit, obviously. Those undergrounds are easily supposed to be very upwards of 90 meters below the earth. Ever since the McMurder, where we dropped a few massive boarding penetrators on them, we began going even deeper. Dropping a nuke on these underground facilities isn't just being matched with the weak fun. Modern nuclear weapons are trying to air burst, which allows more explosive force to go down. It's absolutely devastating for underground targets like cities or traditional military bases, but not so much underground. Most obviously, people are do nearly as much to something on the surface. So you have to use point detonation. You set a nuke to point detonate, they can explode on impact. Most of that explosive force is going to go up and out into the sky. The rest will just be absorbed by the earth. And absorbing nukes, which is why we put all of our important countries in place. Has a key to slowed up mounting. Might be allowed to run access to mounting technology, I'm not sure. Personally, I blame the UTech. I've up in the video for a while. So gentle reminder that UTech is because evil schemes are the original cause of all this. Moving underground bunkers is kind of like seeing someone wearing a bulletproof vest within the pistol. Comfortable to be on the receiving end of the fight from the river too. They're still going to be able to stand back up and fight them. The mobs will drop on their facilities before because they targeted weak. There is some 60 meters in the dirt before they went off. Nukes cannot do that. Detonation of one would cause serious issues with radioactive fallout. The mounds or the dirt and debris would cause a massive persistent radiation distribution. And would not make our lives any easier. It would not speed up a surrender from Iran in the slightest. This is the point of the video where a future president says something like, well, why don't we just strap a nuke to a bunker buster and call it a day? It's hard. Well, we tried that. And it was called the Robust Nuclear Armament, RNEP. That's what I think tens of millions of dollars. The U.S. military, they don't work. Nukes are incredibly fragile weapon systems. Even if we were able to get them to penetrate and still be able to blow up, it's around 6. The rest of this kind of weapon would actually work in taking out underground facilities. The official in charge of the U.S. program stated, I don't believe the laws of physics will ever let that be true. But later said, quote, no sane person would use a weapon like that. Nukes would probably collapse a few between the air ducts to the surface, but probably not all of them. The problem of underground weapon sexes still persists, and maybe it's just part of us to get them out. We really wanted to eliminate it. We would just be better off building more conventional bunker busters and get the engineer weak points and the charge to crater a literal mountain. Now, one idea I've seen floating around is to level the entire Goes to the run through the critical moves. The larger population centers off the coast are key points that allow IRGC fighters to launch asymmetric attacks with a straight and a ball. Because these are built up areas with a lot of industry, it makes it very easy to hide and move weapons in firing range. The thing goes that if we just wipe out those areas with a nuke, nothing will be in range to hit the boats in the strait. Now, assuming that we don't care that nukes in this section of the country would inflict hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of civilian casualties, it still does not solve our problem. In fact, we create several more, which is up to instead of what I think. First of all, the more you hit a country's economic strong points, the closer you push that country into a failed state. Failed state here meaning it's absolute chaos, never reinformed stuff. No government and power, no economy. No one has a job. People are doing anything to survive. The environment to survive. There's a reason that people don't vacation at Haiti or Sudan at the moment. They don't sanction power vacuums in the Middle East can cause not so great things like the Islamic State maybe. Keeping civilian economic apparatus impact beneficial for the United States in this scenario. If your average Joe/average can still go to work, he's probably not going to want to join the IRGC on their road to holy martyrdom. Also means that we have to rebuild those sections of their economy, and by rebuild, I mean literally rebuild. Oh, but just let me figure it out. We should be all the business, competition, building, something lawful. But here's the point. We don't, someone else will. By someone else, I mean China. This China is a very large portion of its oil imports from this region, and already has the systems in place to perform large-scale international infrastructure building via the Belt and Road Initiative. The United States would essentially be swapping economic leverage to the Persian Gulf from Iran to China. That is a much harder nut to bust. My point there is that if you don't have a nation built, there is still a nation there that we didn't just delete off the earth. Part of what makes Iran such a pain for countries to deal with is that they operate as a distributed network. Iran off the map doesn't solve the issue that there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of a lot of trained and motivated fighters all over. You probably find that if the U.S. started nuking Iran, these groups would have the opposite of the free presses on it. Maybe you don't care about all that stuff, because second and third order effects of brainiac nerds, who cares who wants to book there? Something black burrito, all deal with them. Well, wiping out that coastline still doesn't solve our problem. So the weapons are locked into that area from other places. So they're still able to be fired at the coastline, even if we level it. So they're eliminating the issue of longer range that don't have to be blocked closer to the coast, or hitting on those shipping containers near the ports. To secure the coastline, you would have to defend hundreds of miles of airspace into the actual country itself. Do that for you. This is, of course, ignoring the fact that literal nukes are going off near these straight from nukes and encouraging Gulf. No shipping companies are going to risk putting ships anywhere near it, let alone just trying to traverse it. So, yes, you might have already attacked. You're going to use it. Right now, it's supposed to be less than Iran.
What rock? What rocko? What rock? What's the matter, Rock?
It's a very fine balance for those who walk right now in terms of who has nukes and who doesn't.
Rocko, you're fine, bud. Boys, why are you bow wowing, mans? Rocky, please chill, sir.
Million pounds of uranium each year, but we only produce about 1 million of that domestically. Do the math. That means 98% of our uranium comes from other places, foreign suppliers, and that is a critical vulnerability for security, counter-generation, and advanced defense systems. With Russia controlling much of the global enrichment capacity and escalating tensions in Iran threatening the nuclear supply, the stakes are pretty high right now. This is where Kirkstone Nails comes in, trading under KSM Canada and KSMCF in the U.S. with decades of uranium and junior mining expertise. Kirkstone's leadership team know how to turn exploration projects into real value. They control two 100% owned uranium projects strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, the richest uranium districts on the planet. Their flagship Key Lake project drilling hard-hit high-grade uranium near the surface. The team will lead to a real prize lies on the ground, using a plan based on decades of the biggest discoveries. They're hunting the massive source below right now. So let's talk about the Athabasca Basin, which is home to multi-billion-dollar names like Dennis and Mines. On the upside, though, it's often the junior explorers operating right next door. The Athabasca Basin has delivered over 20% of the entire world's uranium discoveries, with an estimated 200 to over $300 billion worth of uranium. Kirkstone is still sitting at a market cap below $12 million, which is a huge disconnect since those companies are down on the market. January 14th, the U.S. administration is reinforcing commitment to security security. So it's a free via an executive order, which is basically a full declaration of resource independence. Energy security is national security, and the U.S. government is deploying full fiscal and regulatory tools to secure the nuclear fuel cycle in North America. Kirkstone Metals is strategically positioned to capitalize on this shift. Third, some analysts predict prices could exceed $100 per pound this year. Demand outpaces supply. Momentum has already translated into dollars on the ground, and this includes billions in planning and funding towards domestic uranium enrichment capacity. Secondly, is offering one of its most active drilling seasons in years for this flagship drilling program. Kirkstone has exploration underway right now, but advancingly focused on execution. Some companies operating in the second district are valued over $15 billion. Kirkstone could potentially become the leading beneficiary of the reshoring mandate. We'll learn more about this critical mineral story and the team that is delivered big results in fast. Check out the link in the description. Special thanks today to Kirkstone Metals for making today's video possible, and now back to the video. Nukes are best used for deterrence alone. You own a nuke. You have essentially achieved some level of mutually assured destruction, even if the numbers themselves aren't. The reason the United States quietly stopped claiming you were aiming to denuclearizing North Korea. You notice some very circular and precise birthplates happening over there, if you know what I mean. On the nice trees and lawns, the lower pads are not building or restricting use, basically goes out the door completely. It's going to be a worldwide arms race all over again. Yes, that would put us in the timeline of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, but odds are, no one here, including myself, is going to be straight. We're probably going to be the guys that get trapped, secondly hop out of the truck like DMCs. That also leads to how the rest of the world would react to us doing that in the first place. It would basically be the persona non grata on the world stage. Separate military language on embargoes, tariffs, sanctions, the list goes on. And I won't arc too much on secondary effects too much here, because as we all know, secondary effects of unexpected consequences are just things made up by the global elites, so that we can keep eating microplastics and drinking fluoride water. But the thing is that if we want to just keep buying around with normal business and stuff, we literally can't. We could empty our entire arsenal and backlogs of ammo into that country. President decides he really wants to. This might not make sense, but we could detonate enough explosives inside the one. Cool. More megatons overall. Cool nukes if we drop them. No one is actually going to camp. Staying off mission fired at an AT-air radar doesn't carry the social taboo on the international stage that we can use tonight. The reality is that if we want to keep bombing Iran, we can. We just keep bombing them. No one's going to. UK and France are now starting mining operations demonstrated full moves, despite the fact that the both of the announced what the U.S. is doing at them. It was super useful to the United States. Be able to take Iran as the back, because it means moving corners on their national security. We are the bad guy. No amount of military victory is going to overcome that. Now, I want to address the arguments some of you have probably had experience since I started yapping a few minutes ago. That being that we nuked Japan every single year. And look at them now. They are a valuable ally. But first of all, that's how we got here. So unless you want that to happen, keep those thoughts to yourself. But we did indeed nuke Japan. That is a fact. Basically, we uprooted the fireball. They surrendered, and now we're driving their cars and consuming their visual media. But setting their entire country on fire would basically be the cherry on top of the Pacific theater of that war. It had been an active conflict within 4 years, actively seizing more and more of their territory. Sure, we've blown up a lot of Iran's stuff, there's no doubt about that, but we have basically finding where instead we own this now. In World War II, we also had an entire aviation force ready to land Japan and take the entire country over with troops, high force, on the ground. Western Army has about 15,000 ground troops in the region, which could take one, maybe two of the built-up towns off the coast. Troops back then didn't have the international repercussions as they did today, and really didn't have anyone on their side of it. Meaning everyone had America's back. It's not the same as it is today. We also, and this is important here, occupied Japan right after for years, rotating millions of troops in and out of the country, and rebuilt it essentially from scratch, spending billions of dollars doing it. We are literally still there almost 50 years after we used them. So we want to do a new route to finally do a new and all we're going to have to need to connect, and we're still going to have a lot of our people there to whatever true neighbors are hiding the rubble out of the conflict, and make sure that whatever form of government is after one that we like, because it's not been what do we do all this for. Nukes are good for basically two things. When taking a country from you and punishing a country for failing you. There's a reason we didn't use them in Korea or Vietnam or any of the Middle Eastern wars. But it's because we were too much of a person to focus on Russia. Spend all the great time. Not just
It was frustrating.
getting hit. And the ship in question is one we're familiar with. First,
what I said.
it sailed into the Persian Gulf, which they third. It was
They wanna see me in a shiny flash. Who got to sell a pretty face? Got us something dope, hurt you mad. I don't really wanna understand. Got a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with them fakes. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again. Bargain, said I'm down to raise a bargain. I beg your pardon, caution. No fleet, I make them nauseous. I'm all in this stone, my homemade for auction. Run up and break your necks, make a beat to double take. When I get taste, straight up to me, that pressure elevate. Ain't got no time to negotiate, never chase. I set the pace. I'm a 5-star take, great.
You wanna see me in a shining flash? Got to sell a pretty face. Gotta sell a dope, heard you mad. I don't really wanna understand. Got a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with a face. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again.
열심히 뛰어봤나 나는 놈이 꾸며 발치 앞에서 해줄게 인사 반응도 못해도 쓰러져 dominant wanting I'm very yes I'm a 신선 이성 pack it up 팀성 긴장 shoot it up 비상 산책 없던 신들의 기탐이 판에 so boring 내가 할 말은 peace out
Locked and loaded like my gun.
AST is completely one shipyard worker was reported deceased and 40 reported 2 shipyard workers were injured. We are saddened to learn of this tragic news and their thoughts to the victims and their loved ones. This will report on that era.
It's alright. Hands us down.
Afterwards, the SC-60 were mariners that reported no injuries. Safety bolt and rallied and were taking every necessary step to support their being. Yeah, other things about shipyard is it's free of fuel and aspirates to the ocean. Bankers on board. However, it is a fixed target, and it does raise a huge question regarding port security.
Hammy! Hammy! Ham! Get in here! Buddy! Good job, guys. Let's go for it.
There's a lot of feeling of the strengths of organs. You will see very little traffic through there like that. Also have the loading there are two reasons why ships are shorts. This outbound lane is inbound. That's to the front. This is very and so there are obvious concerns about the second issue has to do with insurance. The government is water story, but you have to reinsurance
Hammer! Come on, Ham.
buyback options with reinstate cover. Japan MSMAD insurance with twin orders in a suspended underwriting range of insurance. Read this story from the Strengths Times. Major insurance companies.
Nice. Stop yelling, boys. Hey. Fucking fingers.